The Articles of Confederation. This is the state standard. Identify how the weaknesses of the Articles of Confederation led to the writing of the Constitution. And this is SS 7C15. The objective is that students can analyze the weaknesses in the Articles of Confederation. So pay attention to the weaknesses. Here's the vocabulary which will be discussed during the PowerPoint. Alright, so after we declared the Declaration of Independence, colonists needed to create a system of government for our new independent nation, because we all know that the Declaration of Independence was not a government, so they needed to create one. The Articles of Confederation was a direct response to the long list of grievances against King George III. This system of government is called a confederation, and that's where all the power goes to the states. So why implement the Articles of Confederation? Like we just stated, the Declaration of Independence did not provide a government for America. So during the Revolutionary War, this was still going on at the time, the Continental Congress drew up a plan. November 1777, the first central government of the United States, which was ratified, also meaning approved, in 1781, became our first government or constitution. It was known as a firm league of friendship. It wanted to create a firm league of friendship between all the states, but you're going to see that it did not do so. So we're going to talk about the strengths and the weaknesses in the Articles of Confederation. There are very few strengths and there are a lot more weaknesses, which you're going to see. So the strengths were that Congress was able to declare war and make peace. They could coin and borrow money. They could deal with foreign countries and sign treaties. And Congress was also able to operate post offices. Notice that under our U.S. Constitution, we are still able to do these things today. However, they realized that we needed more. The weaknesses are that the government couldn't force states to obey its laws. They also could not enforce taxes. There was no power to enforce laws because they had no executive branch. Congress lacked leadership. There was no president at the time. Congress lacked leadership. There was no national army or navy. There was not a system of national courts because there was no judicial branch. There was only part of a legislative branch. Also, each state could issue its own paper money, which drew up many problems. Each state could put tariffs on trade between states. Amendments could be added only with the approval of all the 13 states. That's very difficult. It's very hard to get every single state to agree, and you're going to see with the activity that we do. Approval of 9 out of the 13 states was required to pass a law in Congress. So there is a difference between amendments and laws. So again, amendments, every single state had to agree, 13 out of 13. And for laws in Congress, 9 out of the 13 states had to agree. Each state got one vote, no matter how big or small its population was. Not everybody's going to be happy with that. So Shays' Rebellion was an event that took place that really helped our country realize how weak the Articles of Confederation was. It occurred in 1786 with a farmer by the name of Daniel Shays. This occurred in Massachusetts, and Daniel Shays and other farmers led a rebellion to prevent land from being foreclosed. The government was coming in and taking their land because they couldn't pay it. Many of these farmers were Revolutionary War soldiers who were promised that they did not have to pay taxes on their land during the war. So you can imagine how angry they were. These promises not being kept led to a revolt, And unfortunately for Congress, it was too weak and did not have its own army. They had a very difficult time putting this rebellion down. And finally, after it was put down, Shays' rebellion had proved that the Articles of Confederation was too weak. So now our government knows that they need to go back to the drawing board.